بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على أمور الدين والدين. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وآله وصحبه أجمعين. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. We continue with the class called Aqeedah من كتاب السنة, with the book Take Your Aqeedah from the Quran and the Sunnah. We reached question number 13 with the chapter title Shurut Qubul al-Amal, the conditions for accepting an action. The conditions for accepting an action. Meaning, what are the conditions that are needed to be present so that your action will be accepted with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What are the conditions that are needed to be present so that your actions will be accepted with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There are three conditions. What are they? There are three conditions. What are those three conditions?
Ikhlas.
One of them is ikhlas. The ikhlas will be considered a niyyah here. A niyyah salihah is also considered ikhlas. A niyyah salihah is also considered ikhlas. So what's the first condition that you're missing? Iman. That you're a Muslim. That you're a Muslim. What is the third condition? That is done in the way the Prophet ﷺ showed it to be done. So the first condition is ما هي شروط القبول العمل? What are the conditions for the acceptance of an action to be done? شروط قبول العمل عند الله ثلاثة. The conditions for an action being accepted with Allah. Because that's what we're looking for. Not if it's accepted with me, not if it's accepted with your friend. But the conditions for your actions to be accepted with Allah. That Allah will accept your actions, you need three things to be present. The first of those three things, tell them that shut that door, please. Because it's recorded, so it's going to pick up on the sound of whoever's talking and playing. No, it's okay. Let them play, but just shut the door so we don't hear it, so it doesn't. The recording doesn't pick up on them. No. The conditions for an action to be accepted in Islam, number one, is that a person has to be a believer. Al-Iman billahi tawheedihi. That a person believes in Allah and he has tawheed in Allah. What is tawheed? Just remember this last one. What is tawheed? So the condition for your, now, the further we go in the book, we see how important it is for us to know what tawheed is, right? Your actions won't even be accepted with Allah without it. So, we just made salat, right? Don't we all want our salat to be accepted with Allah? Huh. So what's the first condition? Al-Iman billahi wa tawheed. To believe in Allah and to have tawheed of Him. So we know what believe in Allah means, right? We all believe in Allah, but what does this tawheed mean? What does it mean? What is what tawheed mean? What is the tawheed of Allah? For all of you people who just made salah, I'm pretty sure that you would want to know what this means, right? You will want your actions accepted, correct? Is this not important? Or we just praying for exercise? It's like burpees. Salah is like burpees, up, down, up, down. Or you want it to be acceptable to Allah. So what is the tawheed of Allah? Huh? Well, there's three categories that we mentioned just last week. What are those three categories? Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed Asma wa Sifat, and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. This is very, very, very important. What I ask you guys something? In a day, what do you do with your time? What do you do? What do you do? What? Somebody describes you. How do you wake up? What do you do when you wake up? Huh? You make salah. What does your day consist of? I mean, you have a job and working? Anybody here have a full-time job? None of you? MashaAllah. You have, I know you're working, right? But you're in college now. So anyone here in college right now? No, college didn't start. See, I got you. You still have time. College didn't start yet, right? Alhamdulillah. So basically, you guys have nothing to do all day, right? Tell me if someone here has something to do. You know, what do you do?
I play outside.
MashaAllah, it's very important to play outside. That's difficult too, right? It takes planning. You have to know which friends to play with, which friends not to play with, how high to... There's a lot of things that go into that, correct?
Mostly I just play with my family and play balloon.
MashaAllah. Even with that, you gotta know how hard to hit them, right? Tell you. So he's the only one with the job. Playing outside is a job. I accept that. Anyone else have anything that they have to do that can stop them from learning these basic things about Islam? You do? What do you have to do?
I ride my bike outside.
That's very important as well. I accept. Okay. But when you come in to eat lunch, right? Yeah, you do take a break, right? On your break from playing outside, on your break from riding your bicycle, sit there. Go over these things. Don't take all of your time. I know how important that is. But at least when you come in from your work break, sit down and say, what is Tawheed? 1, 2, 3. Okay? Can I ask you for that? The rest of you have no excuse. Is that correct? So I'm going to ask you again. What is Tawheed? I just answered this, subhanAllah. No, what did I say? I said, well, what did he say? Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, Asma wa Sifat. Very simple. Single out Allah and His actions. If you want it in English, right? That's Tawheed what? Rububiyyah. To single out Allah with our actions towards Him is Tawheed what? Uluhiyyah. His right is deserving of us to worship Him. Right? Singling Him out in His names and His actions, and characteristics, excuse me. His names and His characteristics is Tawheed what? That's not Sifat. That's not Sifat. You know, one of the things that, may Allah protect us, one of the worst things I see that happened during COVID was that you guys forgot how to stick to this. You guys forgot to stick. Because I don't know what happened to you guys. We talk the same things every week and you forget. That's not okay. Do you find that okay? What does that tell me? That either this is not important to you, which is no problem, because you have to stand in front of Allah, right? Wallahi, I can't stand in front of Allah for you, right? So you have to stand in front of Allah. How important is this to you? Your actions being accepted depend upon it, right? Your actions being accepted by Allah. Look at the title here. The conditions for the acceptance of an action with Allah are 3 things. You already failed on number 1. It's a big deal, correct? Again, so I'm going to ask you, and this is the 3rd week that we mention these 3 things. Is it not? Is it not? I'm asking. You guys have to talk up. The little ones are brave, mashallah. The older ones have to talk up. Is this not the 3rd week that we spoke about these things? Yes, it is. Okay, say it. Who's here is over 15? Raise your hand if you're over 15. Raise your hand, how old are you? That counts too. Raise your hand if you're over 14, actually. Raise it high, like men. Tell you, I'm going to treat you like men. You're over 15, you're not babies. Correct? Or are you? I'm asking the question. Are you babies? You're over 15, you're grown men in Islam. In Islam, you're considered what? So that's all that matters. That's what Islam sees us as, correct? If you die right now, over the age of 15, guess what? You're going to be judged for your actions. Correct? So you're not a child anymore in Islam. Allah, you're old enough to go to Jahannam. Think about it that way. You're 15, you're old enough to go to Jahannam. Does that make sense to you? Does that make it sound, put it in a better form for you? You, after the age of 15, forget what the kuffar say about, oh no, he's 18, he's only a little baby. No, you're not a baby if you're old enough to go to Jahannam. Correct? You're old enough to be asked about your actions in front of Allah. And you're old enough to be punished for them in front of Allah. So you're not children. You're adults, you're grown men. 15-year-old men during the time of the Prophet ﷺ were fighting, killing people in jihad. Men, 15 years old. You're not babies. Get this out of your head. What the kuffar have told you to make you not accountable for your actions. Oh, this is a child. No, you're not. You are 15, and some of you under 15 are men too. But we know for sure the ones who are 15 are men. You're not babies. Understand this, please. If you're old enough to go to Jahannam, you're old enough to take this serious. Okay? Muhammad al-Fatih, he conquered Constantinople at 18, 17. You know, he wasn't playing around with toys at 15, that means. If he conquered the hardest city in the world at that time to conquer, he obviously at 15 wasn't playing with toys, and he was thinking, planning what was he going to do, working on his craft. Long time. Take this serious, please. So, the number one, what are the conditions for acceptance of a deed? Number one is belief in Allah and Tawheed. What are the three types of Tawheed? And Tawheed Uluhiyyah. Thank you. As Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَانَتْ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ نُزُلًا. Allah Ta'ala, He says that those who believe in Allah and do righteous actions, those who believe in Allah and do righteous actions, showing you that there has to be Iman before you can do righteous actions. And the Prophet ﷺ, he says in the narration, قُلْ آمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ ثُمَّ اسْتَقِمْ, say I believe in Allah, then stay upright. Stay upright by doing correct actions. Okay? So you can't do correct actions unless you have belief. Sometimes we are confused because we live in the lands of kuffar, right? And we see a person that looks like they're a nice guy, right? They look like a nice guy, they smile, they might even give you $1 if you ask them, help you across the street. The reality is, if they don't have Iman, nothing they're doing is accepted. So they go trust you. We can be doing a lot of stuff, but if we don't have Iman, none of that is accepted. The second is ikhlas. That when you do it, even as a believer, there's times where you have to check your intention every time before you do an action, even as a believer. It doesn't mean just because I believe in Allah that everything I do is going to be correct. No. I have to make sure that even as a believer, everything I do it for the sake of Allah alone. Does that make sense? So that's number 2. Ikhlas. Making sure that my niyyah or niyyat are correct, and it's for Allah. How do you know the niyyah is correct? How do you know your intention is correct? When it's for the sake of Allah and no one else. When you do your act of worship for the sake of Allah and no one else, only then is your action correct. If it's for something besides Allah, it's not correct. As Allah Ta'ala, He says, فَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهِ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. Worship Allah, making your deen, your actions, sincerely for Him. Making your deen, your actions, sincerely for Him. Number 3 is that whatever you do, it has to be done What do we say? In accordance to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. They call this, in some texts they call it mutaba'ah, in some places they call it muwafaqatu lima ja'a bihi nabi. But you got to do it how the Prophet ﷺ brought it. You can't make up stuff and do it how you think because you're smart. All of you are very smart, alhamdulillah. But it doesn't mean that you can make up stuff and say, I want to worship Allah this way. You still have to worship Allah how His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam showed it to be done. As the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah Ta'ala says, مَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Whatever the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam he gave you, you take it. Right? And whatever he forbade you from, he didn't give to you, he didn't show you, then you stay away from that. As well, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, مَنْ عَمِلَ عَمَلًا لَيْسَ عَلَيْهِ أَمْرُنَا فَهُوَ رَدٌّ. Whoever does an action is not in accordance to what we, من عمل عمل, whoever does an action that's not in accordance to this matter of ours will have it rejected. So you can do a bunch of stuff, but it won't be accepted in front of Allah. So, question. I'm going to ask each and every one of you. That way, the men show themselves as men, right? If I had $1 million and I said, I'm only going to give this to whoever is a man, who's going to act like a man? Everyone, right? This is more than $1 million for you, brothers. Realize and understand this. The person who enters in the Jannah, right? The least person. May Allah protect us and make us the best. But if we're even the least person entering the Jannah, right? The person who enters into Jannah and they have nothing in this dunya, when they enter the Jannah, what are they going to say? I don't remember nothing of the hardships of the dunya. I'm everything. So the Jannah is worth more than you can count for the dunya. Right? So I'm going to ask you, what are the three? Let's make it quick. It should be rapid fire like your middle name. Right? What are the three conditions you need to have your deeds accepted? Oh, Sunnah, on the right. You thought I was coming here, right? What did he say?
Believing in Allah.
Believe in Allah.
Doing it for the sake of Allah.
Correct intention.
And how you
follow the way of the Prophet. Go ahead, next. Come on, quick. You. You're going to be you. What else? You. Believe in Allah. Say it. Correct intention. Or sincerity. Sincerity is better. Sincerity. And following the way of the Prophet. Next, go ahead. Bismillah.
Belief in Allah, ikhlas, and following the way of the Prophet.
Bismillah. Quick.
Believe in Allah, sincerely.
Who's talking these masks? I can't tell who's talking to me.
Belief in Allah, sincerely, and following the Prophet.
Okay, come on. Belief in Allah, sincerity, following the way of the Prophet. Next, Bismillah.
Belief in Allah, sincerity, and following the prophets.
Following the way of the Prophet. Good. Bismillah. You're 15, so I'm going to throw a hook in the game for you. Go ahead. Bismillah. Believe in Allah.
Believe in Allah.
And Tawheed. What is Tawheed?
Tawheed is single Allah as one and
What
only.
three types?
Tawheed al-Ulubiyyah, Tawheed is
Asma wa Sifat.
and Tawheed, I can't say the last.
Uluhiyyah. Say it in English. Tawheed of Allah's actions. They single out in His actions. Tawheed of what? Our actions towards Him. That we only single out our actions for Him. And Tawheed of His names and His characteristics. Good. Bismillah. You behind Him. Are you hiding? Come inside. Don't hide, brother. Believe in Allah. Say it louder. Believe in Allah, sincerity, and following the way of the Prophet. Come on, Bismillah.
You need to worship Allah the way the Prophet worshipped Allah.
Uh-huh.
And the things you do for Allah will not be accepted without Iman.
Okay. And the third one, what's the third one? Sincerity.
Sincerity for Allah.
MashaAllah. And you give extra. May Allah bless you. Go ahead. And doing it the way the Prophet said something. Come on, Bismillah. Good, Bismillah. Believe in Allah, sincerity, and following the way of the Prophet. Huh? Go ahead, Bismillah. Bismillah, go ahead. And you guys can add to me because, everyone answered already, so it's easy for you. And what's the three types of Tawheed? Bismillah.
Iman, ikhlas, and following the Prophet.
What are Tawheed? The three types of Tawheed. Bismillah. What are the three types of Tawheed? Now we're going to quick test. If I say that the stars cause it to rain, right? If I say the stars cause it to rain, what type of Tawheed am I violating? Huh? Speak up, speak up. Yeah, you have to speak up. Rububiyyah, jazakumullahu khair. If I say that, I want to pray towards this stone. May Allah protect it. I want to pray towards this stone. What type of Tawheed am I violating?
Tawheed
What did you say? Uluhiyyah. If I say that this person has a hand like the hand of Allah, what type of Tawheed am I violating? If I say that this person died because that magician made him die, what will be, right? Only Allah causes death, right? Even though there's different causes. If I say that, I want to make dua to the grave and ask the person in the grave, he's very righteous. I want to ask him for help, What type of Tawheed am I violating? Right, so you know the type of Tawheed? I'm going to ask you all this time, inshallah, don't worry. The next chapter is Shirk al-Akbar. What type of shirk? Major shirk. Don't look at the clock, don't worry. We can go all night. We can go past Isha, don't worry. Guess what? I'm the one that can say we can pray Isha now or later. So if you want to wait, we can pray Isha tomorrow. So not that late. That would be violating what?
Salah.
That would be violating a lot of good things. So we can pray Isha up to 12 o'clock. You know that?
I thought it was.
That's at the best time, actually.
I thought it was until Fajr.
Okay.
Well, you can, but the best time for is the middle of the night. So if we want to, we can stay longer, it's no problem.
Okay.
I have my water, my phone is charged. Yeah, it's fine, don't worry. Tayyib. Shirk al-Akbar. What is Shirk al-Akbar? Major shirk. Yukhrij min al-millah. The type of shirk that takes you outside of Islam. And you're not a Muslim if you do this. Big thing. Meaning if you're not a Muslim, that if you die in that state, you die as a what? Kafir. You stay in the fire for how long?
Forever.
5 years?
Forever.
Forever, subhanAllah. May Allah protect us from that. May Allah protect us, right?
But what if not?
Yes.
If you do it that like you didn't mean it as shit.
You didn't mean it as shirk?
Yeah.
What do you mean you didn't mean it as shirk?
Like you didn't know it was.
You didn't know it was shirk, right? There's two different opinions in regards to this. Scholars are different about it. Let's say you didn't know it was shirk. The scholars say, some of the scholars can say that if it's something that's well known to every Muslim, no Muslim should not know about this, right? Like worshiping Jesus. What Muslim doesn't know about worshiping Jesus? You know? Right? I'm giving you an example. So if a person is caught worshiping Jesus, they say, oh, I didn't know. No, we don't accept that. That's like, basic Islam 101. Every Muslim from the littlest knows that you don't worship Jesus. So if you grow up in an environment of Islam, this guy's talking about this. If you grow up in an environment of Islam, right, where it's expected that you grew up around the Muslims, there's certain things that is not accepted for you to say, I didn't know. Today we live in a different time, unfortunately. Right? But we see that people, subhanAllah, they don't know. They are ignorant of Islam, the basic fundamentals of Islam. But before the people used to say this, think about how far we've come from the correct way. That they would say, it's expected that you know this. Today we can't even say that reality. We don't know what a person can know, subhanAllah, don't know these things. You would expect a person to know, but the reality is people don't know. So if a person doesn't know, we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them. Because they didn't know. And it's ayat that speak about this, that Allah doesn't send the punishment until He sends the messenger. So if a person really does not know, it's expected and hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them. But if a person dies upon committing shirk, or if they did shirk and they repent, that's different also. But dying upon shirk while knowing, the person never exits from the fire. Never. If they die upon shirk while knowing that it was shirk, this person never exits from the fire. Yes?
What if they were going to repent?
What if they were what?
Going to repent back. But they
Going
died.
to repent, but they died? There's two different things. That's up to Allah. Allah knows if they were on their way to repent their intention. Allah accepts their intention, inshallah. Right? If you have an intention to repent, then that's like a repentant, inshallah. The thing is, don't do it. And the way to not do it is by what? Paying attention when you come to class. Learning about shirk. If this is something that will keep you in the fire forever, shouldn't you take that serious? Shouldn't you want to know it? So we shouldn't be the type of people who say, well, what about it? No. You have an opportunity to know it. Today, knowledge is so easy. Right? All you guys have access to the internet. Right? What do you do on the internet? SubhanAllah. Are you reading, studying about Islam? No. Maybe some of it. But what, if you are, you're not studying the right things. This is what you have to know these things before you get way up here in the sky. Right? Nobody became a rocket scientist without first knowing 1 + 1. And this is one of the things that we suffer from today. It's called information overload. That people, they want to study everything so they don't know what to study. Does that make sense? Especially young students. I'm telling you guys with experience. As a young student, you're eager. Ooh, I want all the knowledge. And then you end up getting no knowledge. Why? Because you're everywhere. And if you're everywhere, you're what? Nowhere. Right? You have to know the things that's going to first make your iman correct. That's going to keep you from the fire. So what is shirk al-akbar? Shirk al-akbar is what? I described it already. Someone tell me.
The major sins outside of Islam.
Kicks you outside of Islam. You do this, you're no longer a Muslim. May Allah protect us from that. The question comes, مَا هُوَ أَعْظَمُ الذُّنُوبِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ? What is the greatest sin with Allah? Who knows? Huh? Worshipping other than Allah. أعظم الذنوب الشرك بالله ودليل قوله تعالى يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. The greatest sin is to commit shirk with Allah. The proof of it is the statement of Luqman to his son, Ya bunayya, oh my son, don't make shirk. Don't worship other than Allah. Indeed, shirk is a great type of oppression. Shirk la dhulmun azim. Shirk is a great type of oppression. And the Prophet was asked one time, Ayyu dhanbi a'zam, which sin is the greatest? He said, Taj'ala lillahi niddan wa huwa khalaqak. That you place with Allah a nid yani shriek. That you make someone equal. You place a partner with Allah, even though He created you. And that, as we said before, has to do with your heart. Right? That you don't love anyone the same way you love Allah. You don't obey anyone the way you obey Allah. You don't fear anyone or anything the way you fear Allah. You don't have hope in anything or anyone the way you have hope in Allah. You understand? So it's not just a person going to prostrate to something besides Allah. A person can have fear in their heart of something the way they should only fear Allah. A person can have love for something in their heart the way they should only love Allah. They can obey something more than they obey Allah. This is all types of shirk. So the Shaykh, he says here, مَا هُوَ الشِّرْكِ الْأَكْبَرِ مَا هُوَ الشِّرْكُ الْأَكْبَرِ What is shirk al-akbar? Shirk al-akbar. He says, shirk al-akbar هو صرف العبادة لغير الله كالدعاء غير الله والاستغاثة بالأموات أو الأحياء الغائبين. Shirk al-akbar is to suffer ibadah, that you give your worship to other than Allah. You direct your worship to other than Allah. Right? I have a review question. What is worship? Go ahead.
Worship is like believing in someone.
Well, worship is an action. Worship takes some type of action. So belief is not just belief. What is worship? Worship is what? We said before. Ismun, Jami'un. Worship is a comprehensive word. Ismun, Jami'un, for whatever Allah loves and is pleased with from the actions, right? Statements and actions, the inward and outward statements and actions, right? What you do and what you say. That's worship. So when you do that for other than Allah,
I was going to ask a question.
Go ahead, Bismillah.
So if you're doing something and you don't want to get caught by other people, but deep down you know that Allah is watching you, it's not shirk. Like you fear the other things that are surrounding you.
It's not shirk, but it's a type of, it's a nuts in your iman. It's a deficiency in your iman. As Allah Ta'ala describes the muttaqeen, right? That they are the ones who fear Allah, they fear their Lord while they can't see Him. So the person who doesn't fear Allah, or they know that Allah is watching, but they don't fear, there's a deficiency in their iman. There's a deficiency, but that's not a type of shirk, it's a deficiency in the iman. So, shirk al-akbar, that which takes you out of Islam, is that when a person gives their worship to other than Allah, such as dua to other than Allah, such as seeking help by the dead. It's involved not just seeking help, but seeking help from a calamity. That you're asking the dead to help you from a calamity that has occurred. Or from someone who is alive, but they're not present. Right? Give an example. So seeking help from someone who's dead, you go to the grave and say, yeah, such and such in the grave. My family member is sick, cure them. They don't have that ability. As well, the same thing as if a person is not there, they're absent, but they're alive, and you call them to do something that they have no power to do. It's also a type of shirk. هل الشرك موجود في هذه الأمة? It's a big question. Is shirk present in this ummah? Is there people from amongst this ummah who commit shirk? The ummah of Muhammad we're talking about, not, the Christians and the Jews. In the ummah of Muhammad are the people who call themselves Muslims who commit shirk. This is serious, right? May Allah protect us. It says it's not mawjood. وَدَلِيلُ قَوْلُهُ تَعَالَى. There's a proof for it in the Quran.
A person that commits shirk and another person that's munafiq, is there a difference?
Is there a difference between the munafiq and the mushrik? Yes, there's a big difference. The munafiq will be what? In the lowest parts of the fire. Why? The mushrik commits a sin against himself. The munafiq commits a sin against the ummah. Right? The mushrik is a person who's a kafir. He's open though. He's a mushrik.
No, I mean like Muslims that they call themselves Muslims, who they commit.
Well, there's a difference too, still, because the Muslim who's a mushrik, most of the time they do it either through lack of knowledge, or they're not a Muslim. Right? They're just not a Muslim. One of the big problems is that people have listened to some people who have misguided them from the correct Islam. So they commit shirk. And they might not fully aware of it. So we make dua for them and we call them. We don't call those ones Muslims. Right? Because we hope that they don't understand. So we call them, we make da'wah to them and ask them, try to bring them to the right path. The munafiq, most of the time we don't even know who they are. They're the one who behind the scenes is trying to destroy Islam and destroy the Muslims and take the Muslims away from their deen. They're the most dangerous. That's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He opens up Surah Al-Baqarah, He gives only 2-3 ayats to the kafir, few ayats to the Muslim, and like 13 ayats to the munafiq. Show you how dangerous the munafiq is. That the munafiq is the one trying to take your deen away from you, and they smile in your face. Say, hey, I'm your brother, I'm your best friend. No, listen, but let's, I don't really believe in that. Allah protect us. The munafiq is dangerous. So Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. That most of them don't believe in Allah, except they commit shirk along with it. Most of them do not believe in Allah purely, khalisan, except they mix some shirk with it. They worship other than Allah along with Allah. Mushrikun. May Allah protect us from being from amongst the mushrikeen. As well, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this hadith, subhanAllah, is very, I think we'll end here, because we want to talk about this narration a little bit. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in this narration, is very scary narration, subhanAllah. لا تقوم الساعة حتى تلحق قبائل من أمتي بالمشركين وحتى تعبد الأوثان. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the hour يوم القيامة will not be established. لا تقوم الساعة حتى تلحق قبائل من أمتي بالمشركين. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the hour will not be established until some tribes, some qaba'il from my ummah join with the mushrikeen. And they begin to worship the idols. And they begin to worship, and until they begin to worship the idols. Pay attention to this. The Prophet ﷺ, he's telling us about something that's going to happen. And he used to inform his companions about things that were going to happen towards the last day. And in this narration, it says, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تلحق قبائل من أمتي بالمشركين. That the hour will not be established until some tribe, some people from my ummah join with the mushrikeen. What do they mean by join with the mushrikeen? Means that they make riddah. They become kuffar after they were Muslims. And this happened after the death of the Prophet ﷺ already. And some of the people, after the Prophet ﷺ, they made riddah, they became apostates. As well, it means that they'll start to believe like they believe. They start to believe the belief of the kuffar. Their aqeedah, that they start to believe their aqeedah. They believe the aqeedah of the kuffar. And they begin to do their actions and take their particular characteristics. Pay attention to that. Now, before we think about this, don't look to somewhere else. Look right here to where we are today. How many Muslims do you see today that you can't tell that they're Muslims? They don't pray. But they say they're Muslim. Their name is Abdullah. Her name is Amatullah, Aisha, right? They don't pray. They don't make salah. Jumu'ah comes, you see the men, they still walking around. Like the Eid Salah, you don't see them with the Muslims. They don't fast during Ramadan. Allah knows whatever else they do. Correct? That's just from the outside things that we see from them. They don't pray Salah. They don't fast. Right? When you see their actions, you can't tell the difference between them and a kafir. No. No. Even in their celebrations, their Eids, they have celebrated Christmas. They believe like the kuffar believe. They're celebrating Valentine's Day. Right? Another thing that's not from our way. They're celebrating birthdays is not from our way. It's reality. We look at these things as being small, but is it really small? It's not our deen. Birthdays are not from our way. We don't happy birthday to. No, it's not from our way. It's from Allah. Is it? I'm not going to say, did I miss something that where the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr and Umar, they got together and happy birthday to you? Did I miss this? Is there a narration for this? It's not from our way. Where did it come from? Did any of you hear this happy birthday song before you came to America? So where did it come from then? It's not even in Somalia, huh? So that comes from where? It's here. So if we do this, then we're taking it from who? It's not from the Muslims. The Muslims don't do it. So where does it come from? The kuffar. Valentine's Day. You waited for some Cupid to come throw your house so you can love this girl or she can love you? How foolish. You see the stuff the kuffar does? It's the stupidest stuff ever. Right? They do the dumbest things and the Muslims are running behind. Hey, let me do some dumb stuff with you. The Prophet ﷺ warned us about this. That they'll start to believe like they believe. They'll begin to do their actions. They'll take their particular things. This is not particular to us. This is from their khisal. It's not our way at all. And also the ulama, when they explain this hadith, يَلْحَقَ قَبَائِلَ مِنْ أُمَّتِي بِالْمُشْرِكِينَ, they say, they begin to live in their lands. Reality. This is the hadith of the Prophet, it's not my narration. I'm not saying this is the statement of the Prophet. And another way they explain it, he says that they start to become Christians. We see this. The Muslims either come into their lands and they start to adopt their ways, or the people go to their lands and they try to steal the deen of the Muslims. And they make da'wah. They make da'wah. Be realistic to you. They go to the Muslim lands and they try to call the Muslims from Islam. Is this true or not? Even realistically speaking, sometimes the people who come and help you out when you come, think about it, right? I'm going to be realistic. Don't nobody try to kill me later. Does anyone know what CYO stands for? Catholic Youth. Realistically speaking, do we not see the traps that they try to place for us? Interfaith council that people, right? What are these things for? What do you think? You think they just give you something for free? No, they want something from you. They want your deen. They know they might not be able to get it from your parents because your parents are old. They want it from you all that don't know what Tawheed is, but you can say, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and whoever else, I don't know. Right? They're winning. Well, they're winning. We're losing right now. They bring you, you spend more time, they give you, the things, you know more about what's happening, but don't know Tawheed. They're winning. So they change the name and they make it an abbreviation, CYO, and you never think to ask yourself, what does CYO stand for? Right? Never thought about it, right? Go look at it tomorrow when you go past it and see what it stands for, so you don't think, don't take my word for it. Not to say they don't do some good, but that's the way the kuffar. They'll do some good for you to get what they want in the long run, which is your deen. When you go by there tomorrow, look, it has a sign that says the Catholic Diocese of Syracuse, New York. The Pope has always been behind evil towards the Muslims. You think they want good for you? The Pope has always been behind evil towards the Muslims. And the Pope is the head of the Catholics, right? If you didn't know. He's always been behind evil. Who do you think the Crusaders were? You know about Crusades? Do you guys know what the Crusaders? I know you learned it in school, right? The Crusaders. If you don't know, look it up tonight, what they did to the Muslims. The Crusaders.
They used to put sticks up.
Just forget that. When you go home and you play on your computer, look up who the Crusaders were and what they really were about. Their whole mission that the Pope sent them with, right? The Catholics, was to destroy Islam in the lands of the Muslims. How they raped the Muslim women. How they killed and slaughtered Muslims indiscriminately, right? Do you think now all of a sudden they want to help us? No. Yeah, I'll be. Come on. I know you guys are smarter than that one. So think about it. They sent their whole mission of the Crusades was to destroy Islam. To take Jerusalem. Now people want to cry about, no, you gave it to the front door, here, take it. Now you want to cry about Jerusalem? No, don't cry about it, you gave it to them. Sorry? So we have to wake up. The Prophet said there's not going to come a time to, now the Muslims run to give their deen and join with the kuffar. The companions could never think about that. Joining with the mushrikeen, how? What? Never. Now we run to give up our deen and join with the kuffar. Correct? I'm telling you, this is realistic stuff. A lot of times we want to sugarcoat Islam and we don't want to talk about the real Islam. We only want to talk about the Islam that makes us feel good. Right? What's our reality in regards to our tawheed? And until they what? Worship the idols. Don't you see Muslims, putting up big Buddhas? There's a Buddha. SubhanAllah, you know what Buddha is? That's the idol of the Asian people, right? There's Buddha statues in the outlands. Big ones too. Christmas trees where? In the outlands. Right? What have we done? Where's our tawheed? For money, the thing that we worship today, the thing that the people worship today, is money. For money, we allow the people to put idols up in the lands of the Muslims. For money, we sell our deen. Correct or not? We obey money more than we obey Allah. So is that not an idol? The Prophet said in the top Abu Dinar. The Prophet said, he said that some people will worship money. When he said ta'asa, may they be cursed, the one who worships money. Meaning that whatever money takes you, follow it. It's in your heart. You'll give up your deen for enough money. Person offer you money, say, man, that deen, it was nice and all that. I like praying and stuff, but $1 million? Maybe I can get some Islam somewhere else for $1 million. No. People, realistically speaking, brothers, I'm not joking, this is real stuff. Think about it. What a person is willing to do just to get a certain job. They won't come to Jumu'ah. They get the right job somewhere where they're getting paid the money that they think is good enough for them. Jumu'ah? It's out the door, correct? They go to a school that's far away. They have class at the time of Jumu'ah in college. People forget about Jumu'ah. I'll have college class at the same time as Jumu'ah. Which one? I don't want to fail college, so I'm going to skip Jumu'ah. Realistically speaking, you guys in college, you see it, right? Is this a lie I'm making up? What does that tell you? They're worshiping what? Not Allah, money. All to get the money. A person misses Jumu'ah, don't make salah. Oh, the person, works all day, they make their salah when they get home. 6 salah they miss. SubhanAllah, it's not going to get you nowhere. And wallahi, I'm telling you from my heart, that if you sacrifice for the sake of Allah, I remember I used to work professional job, this type of stuff. And I told the people, listen, I need Jumu'ah off. If I can't get Jumu'ah off, I'm not working. What? So said, I need that day off. If I can't get that day off, this job and me, we're not going to do it. You know what they said? Okay, then we can make that work for you. If you do it for the sake of Allah, Allah's going to help you. But if you're afraid of everything, even your shadow, what was that? No, that's not the way of a Muslim. Fear Allah. Allah's going to make everything work for you. Do you really believe that if you work for the sake of Allah, Allah's going to leave you and abandon you? No, absolutely not. He's going to make a way for you. So the point that we want to make sure that we understand is if you don't take anything else from this class, think about this in your life. What do, right? The Prophet ﷺ said that the hour will not come into this people from this ummah who will join with the mushrikeen. They'll join the mushrikeen and they'll worship idols. Look at your life and see if maybe you're one of those people. It's realistic. Right? And if you're not, work for the rest of your life to figure out how never to become one of those people. Because it's going to happen. And may Allah protect us, but it may be one of us that go to join with the mushrikeen or worship the idols. The Prophet ﷺ already told us about it. So we have to work for the rest of our lives to make sure that it's not me. Does that make sense? Because it's going to happen. هذا صلى الله عليه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Next week we're going to test you again. It's just what's going to happen every week. So when you come, you know what the biggest problem I'm going to tell you all is this, right? All of you, you sit here like Imaam al-Bukhari. You know what Bukhari is? He had a photographic memory. Any of you have photographic memory? You know what photographic memory is? Once you see it, you never forget. Any of you have this type of thing? This blessed memory? Any of you? No? You do? Sometimes? MashaAllah, may Allah bless you. How are you using it? Man, you got photographic memory. It's like a miracle. How are you using it? What are you doing with yourself? MashaAllah. So the point is this, right? Everyone else besides him doesn't have photographic memory. So where's your notebooks at? How are you going to remember this very important stuff in your life? You know, our notebook. Qayyidul ilm al-kitab. Does it say? Remember and keep the knowledge that you have by writing it. When you go to school, regular school, they teach you 1 + 1. Stuff that's not going to benefit you in the after. And realistically, some of it's not going to benefit you after you graduate. Right? You bring a notebook, 5, 6, 7, 8 notebooks, 10 different pens, right? Pencil sharpener just in case, right? But for the Aqeedah, I'm just like, yo, we just come and chill. You gotta take it serious. No one can make it serious for you. Okay? And it's very easy. It's not difficult stuff. This is the 1 + 1 of knowledge. It's not even like, you know, algebra or nothing. This is the 1 + 1 knowledge. 2. Oh, you have a question? Sorry.
Is there a website of this kitab?
Say it again?
A website that we can read from this kitab?
Do you what?
A website.
You want to recite it?
A website, yeah.
Oh, it's on whose website?
No, there's this kitab, Khadar. Does it have a website like page?
Oh, it's recorded. You can watch it on YouTube or Facebook. The message is recorded on Facebook and it's on the message YouTube channel. Inshallah. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك